All right. Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to class. It's 12 p.m. Hi Shuchi. Thanks for joining in on time. Let's give everyone else few seconds to join in. In the meantime, let me get my whiteboard ready to go over the questions that you have. Okay. Hi Faria, how are you? Okay, so let's get started. And Shruti, as soon as you send us that one question, we will be going over. And then we will also be going over the English test from Monday that we were going over yesterday, but we only got through to like one topic. So we explain different types of verbal forms, infinitive, gerund, participle. Those are the three verbal forms that we described or went over yesterday. In the meantime, as Shuchi is pulling out some math questions that she had from school that she was confused with, Faria, if you have any questions from schoolwork or anything in general, please send it to me. You can either write them in the chat, or you can text it to me directly in the message. And either way, I will be able to get it and then review with you guys, so that, or and at the same time teach you guys the topic for it, so that next time you get similar question in the same topic, you don't have to worry about it. You'll know it because you already learned the topic. Hi Mehrab, how are you? Okay, so Shruti hasn't sent it to me yet, which is, oh no, she just did. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have a graph here. Which sentence explain why the slope of AB is equal to the slope of BC? All right, I'm actually going to pull this on the chat. I'm going to share it to Classroom, and then I'll put it up so everyone can see it. Not 6th grade. You have to do it for, let's say, 7th grade. Create assignment. Math question. If you get a notification right now that I just assigned an assignment, disregard it. I'm just posting it up so that I can pull it out for you guys. Okay, so Shuchi just send this picture of her I ready question. I hope you guys are seeing it. And so let's review this question together. Which sentence explains why the slope of AB is equal to the slope of BC? Okay, so parallel lines always have the same slope. We know this. So since AD equals to BE and DB equals to EC, so in this diagram, AD, which is right here, is equal to BE. So basically they are proportional. And DB, which is the base of this triangle, is equals to the base of this triangle. So height of this triangle equals to the height of this one, and the base of this one equals to the base of this one. The proportion AD over DB, AD over dB is the same as BE over EC. Good, yes, that's true. That's how proportional pro triangles work, or any figures. So the ratio of the rise to the run is the same in each triangle. Okay, so as in the ratio of the slope. Rise over run is basically the slope is same in each triangle. So triangle ADB, so this triangle, the one on the bottom or the one that's upside down, is similar to triangle BEC. Well, we knew that because of all of this. If it's a proportion, if it's a correct proportion and if it's a proportional triangle, then the triangles are similar because the corresponding angles are congruent. Yep. So corresponding angles, as in this angle and this angle, are two corresponding angles. What do I mean by corresponding angles? What I mean by corresponding angle is that they're in the same position of both triangles. So I'm going to draw it out for you guys in a little bit, and you will be able to see it better. I just want to read through all of this before I do that. They're equal. And then they're congruent. And the other corresponding angle is basically these two, over here and over here. I'm not sure if it's clear for you guys. I'll draw it out. And they're vertical angles. They're in the same position, so they're congruent as well. So therefore, AB is equal to BC. So therefore, this hypotenuse, as in this side of the triangle and this side of the triangle, the ones that are opposite of the right angle, they're equal. So the slope of AB is equal to the slope of BC. So they're saying the slope of this line is same thing as the slope of this line. Okay, yeah, well, they're also part of the same exact line. So of course, this slope is gonna be the same. Now, triangle ADB is congruent to triangle BEC. So this triangle is congruent to this triangle because the corresponding angles are congruent. So first we are able to figure out that they are similar, but they're not congruent. But now we're figuring out how they're congruent. Why? Because we realize not only that their corresponding angles are congruent, the sides are also equal. Okay? So because their angles are congruent, so the ratio of the rise to the run is the same in each triangle. We see it. Now, triangle ADB is similar to triangle BEC. Okay, we established that because the corresponding angles are congruent, therefore AD. Okay, so these are the choices. Which sentence explains why the slope of AB is equals to the slope of BC? All this time I really thought this was part of the question. Okay, let's go over similar triangles and congruent triangles together, and then we'll come back to this question so that you guys really get it. So take down the notes, open to a clean sheet of paper, and take down the notes that I'm going to show you guys about different triangles and their corresponding angles and them being similar or congruent, what makes one congruent and what makes one not congruent, what makes one just similar but not congruent, similar triangles. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull something up for you guys here. Give me just 1 second. As I was telling Faria and Mera about it earlier, if you guys have any questions from your school homework that you guys been dealing with, please send me the picture or post the picture up on Google Classroom and then I'll get through it. Okay, that way it's much better. I'm teaching you guys what you guys actually need, right? Okay, so the first thing we're gonna today learn is probably is what is the definition of two similar figures. So similar figures mean similar figures. How you guys all doing otherwise? How's this quarantine, staying home, doing homework, taking online classes, everything feeling for you guys? Let me know. I want to have conversations with you guys and want to know how you guys are doing. I will tell you about my story. I wasn't doing so well the first week. When we first started staying in, I missed all of you guys. I missed work. I missed the learning center. I missed all my staff. But I think over the last week or so, it's been a lot better, and definitely teaching you guys and being able to helping you guys through this whenever you guys have questions or don't have questions, still teaching you guys has been helping me a little bit. Feel a lot better. I feel like this is what I was doing, and I want to do it continuously and help my students. So two figures are similar if one one of the figures can be one of the figures can be uniformly enlarged, um, so that it is identical to the other. It is identical to the other figure. Okay? So Merab doesn't find his online classes that hard because he thinks he's getting 4 times as much work. Well, Merab, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't assign homework, so I guess that's good. For now, I don't. If you need any help with all of this 4 times as much as homework that you're getting, I'm always here. You can always text me, message me, put it up on Google Classroom for me to look at it, review the day after, or sometimes even immediately if I see it early enough, like I'll just answer it to you. And then if I realize that it's something everyone else can benefit from, I'll share it. And yeah, so I'm here to help you guys as much as you need. So two figures are similar if one of the figures can be uniformly enlarged. What do I mean by that? So let's say I have one triangle, small, another triangle that's a little bigger, but they're still identical. If like they have the same angle, this means that they have the same angles, like the angle values are same. But maybe this one is a little more enlarged than the other one. So these two are similar, okay? They are similar triangles or similar figures. It doesn't have to be triangles only. It could be for a rectangle. It could be for a square. So you guys learned similar triangles, similar figures in grade school, as in elementary school, and that is entire idea still applies here. It's just that now we're gonna figure out how to actually know if it's similar or not. So hopefully you guys got to copy this down. If not, go back a little bit, pause it, copy it, and then come back to the live. I'm gonna move on to the next theory, and that is, let's look at the question one more time so I know what I'm explaining. Which sentence explains why the slope of AB is equal to the slope of BC? So why are the two slopes equal? So there is something that you need to know about similar triangles or similar triangles. So if so write this down. If triangles two triangles are similar. And if they're right triangles, I say they're right because we're dealing with the right ones, right triangles, then this is true for them. Their hypotenuse will always have the same slope. So who remembers what a hypotenuse? I'm sure all of you guys do. So if it's a right triangle right here, okay, this side, which is across the right angle right here, is my hypotenuse. Okay, so now let's say I have two right triangles and they're similar. They're not necessarily congruent, as in they're not the same exact, but they're similar. That means their hypotenuse are gonna be the same. Okay, they have the hypotenuse slope are the same. Both of these lines, their slope are same. Now, if I look at this question now, which sentence explain what slope of AB? So AB and BC are the hypotenuse of these two triangles. So I'm going to draw these two triangles right side up there. Pull up the picture actually on my iPad that Shuchi just sent. So hopefully you got that down. If not, go back. So I'm drawing the two triangles right here. So one of them is like this. Okay, this is the right angle, and another triangle is over here. And this one's right angle is right here. Okay, so the right angles are at E and D. This is A, so this is ADB, and this is BEC. So the two hypotenuses are AB and BC. So the two hypotenuses here are AB and BC, right? And if they're similar, then they have to be the same, or as in they have to have the same slope. So if the triangles are similar, so this is the key word here, they're similar, then their hypotenuse slope will be equal. So please write this down and really know this, that if two right triangles are similar, then the slope of their hypotenuse will be equal. Okay, so let's say you got this question and you see this, you got this question, and the question is ask you, how can you prove that the slope of these two triangles are equal? And you knew this fact because you learned it before, and you are like, okay, the only way to prove that the slope of these two triangles are gonna be equal is to prove that the two triangles are similar. Not congruent, but definitely similar. Not all similar triangles are congruent, but all congruent triangles are definitely similar to each other, right? What do I mean by similar? They're same shape, they have corresponding angles, but they're not the same exact size. One can be smaller than the other. And if it's congruent, it's the same exact. It's like duplicate. Okay? So I would say two of my hands are pretty congruent to each other. Well, with the exceptions of few, actually. No, I don't think so because I think all of us have different lines on our different hands. The the prints of our fingers are different, so but they're similar. But if it was like a duplicate thing, it would be congruent. Okay? So hopefully you guys are okay with that. So now I'm going to explain to you different rules as to how you can prove two triangles are similar. And then you'll see those rules actually are in these choices, and then it will help you pick out the right choice. Okay? How to find how to find triangles are similar. Let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. And sorry about the background conversation. That's my husband doing his work upstairs, and I'm doing this class downstairs. So, obviously, he could hear each other if he's on a call. We try to schedule our classes in a way so that he's not on a call at the same time me, but it doesn't work out all the time. We're all working and we all have a lot of things to do and during the daytime to catch up. So usually I try to talk over it so you guys can only hear me. But let me know if you're hearing me clearly. So how to find if two triangles are similar? So two triangles are similar if they have all their angles are equal, all their angles are equal, and their corresponding sides are in the same ratio. Okay? What do I mean by that? Their corresponding sides are in the same ratio. They're not equal, but they're in the same ratio. And all their angles are equal. So let's say I give you, and let me find an example of a triangle for you. Two pairs of corresponding. I don't think you need to know that all the angles are equal. All right. I thought it was only two triangles. And one more. They are still similar, even if one is rotated. One is rotated or reflected as a mirror image. Okay, it stays the same. They still become similar. Okay, all their corresponding angles, not only angles. So guys, if you already wrote this, please write this on the top. I forgot to write corresponding first. corresponding, as in they're in the same position. Okay, so take a few seconds to write this down. Um, take a few seconds to write this down, and then let me know done so that I can show you, because I really want you guys to write it down. I don't want to move away from it before everyone catches up. Okay, so let me know when you're done so then I can show you what I mean by all their corresponding angles are equal and corresponding sides are in same ratio.
In the call for our next one. The one other brand, well, two other brands that I wanted to briefly mention to you. So with NordVPN, they're currently also exploring a partner brand, which is NordPass. It's in the same family of NordVPN cybersecurity products. NordPass is a password manager that they've launched last year, that's starting to really ramp up and take off this year. So, alongside a VPN conversation that you're having with your creators, if any of them are interested in having a
Alrighty,
password manager tool, then that's something we can certainly explore. So the
maybe we'll put some.
side of things too is that while VPN messaging has largely been very successful with a predominant
Never
VPN
mind, I have to
audience,
log in and
with
that's gonna
password
take a
management
while.
you can go even broader and deliver
Perfect, you guys are
via
done.
email and messaging
Almost
for
awesome.
creators that
Good.
have
You guys
that
copy
are
very
also
fast.
wanting to
Perfect. All right, so let's say I
and
have
then
two triangles here. Let's use that triangles
alongside that,
that
the last brand that we're
um,
very active with
Shuji had,
is Raycon. Are you familiar with Raycon at all?
even if they're upside down. So one we have
Raycon is
ADB.
a premium wireless headphone company.
This is
They
A,
created
this
this
is D,
high-end
and this is B.
quality headphones that
And angle D is my
fantastic
right
to use
triangle.
and listen to. The
And
space that they
we have
provide is
another one that's a little up,
absolutely
that's
phenomenal.
just upside down. But remember what I said, even if they're upside down and
So
reflected,
the last
they
one
can
I'll talk
still be
about with you
similar.
is
And this
this
is a right
also able to
triangle, E,
justify dropping $150 plus
and
on
this is
haircuts,
B, and this is
whereas with
C.
Raycon
And
you can
remember
choose
what I
one
told you
or
guys
the other,
before
and it is
about
something that
corresponding
we're
angles
really
being
talking about
what?
maintaining
What did I say about
a
corresponding
multiple
angles?
multiple case that can not only hold your earbuds but also charge them at the same time with battery life capabilities.
Corresponding angles are
However,
same.
it's also
So
something
the
that I wanted to mention
corresponding,
is
not
that
all angles, the corresponding angles are equal. So what do I mean by corresponding
a
angles?
lot of
They're in the
agencies
same
are
position,
planning on
are
offering fees to get things
equal.
up over the next couple months, but this is one thing that
So for
is
example,
essential to
angle E
consider
is
is that
corresponding to angle
whenever
D because it's the same,
you
and
get to
they're
that
equal because they're both 90 degree.
it's our
So
advice is to
angle
go ahead.
D is congruent,
Awesome. So we'll send over additional
this
details
is
on that
congruent
as well,
sign,
and then in the meantime, take a look
to
at what
angle
rates could
B.
be for
Okay?
using it.
So they are same exact value, 90 degrees. What else do I know about the other angles
For
here? Do I
instance,
know
this
anything
is
about the
that
other
well
angles in
written
this
document.
question? Do I know
It
angle
essentially
C?
says
Yes. So I'm going to zoom in for you guys so that you guys see it better. Oh, it doesn't. Does it zoom? Yes, it does. Good. And look, you see how I drew two lines here in C? Not I drew, they drew two lines over here in C, angle C, and they drew two lines over here in angle A. That's to show you that they're the same exact value. So even if you guys didn't learn this yet in high school,
awesome.
yeah,
Like I
in
said,
ninth grade for
the
sure, if not eighth
that
grade.
was
And maybe some of your, since Shuchi is doing it right now, maybe her teacher is ahead. This is in algebra. So these two lines equal, having that same line, like only two and two here, meaning C and A are equal. Having three lines here in angle B and over here in angle B, they're both angle B. That means they're equal to each other, obviously. All right? I mean, they're the same exact angle too. And this one we didn't have to put any line because we already know both of them are 90 degrees. Is that understood? Does that make sense? Um, so that means they are telling you that these two angles are equal. So I'm going to draw it with a different color. So we have angle C and angle A equal to each other. So angle C is here and angle A is here. So the reason why you don't see it like this is because I drew it upside down, right? I drew both of them upside down. But they actually look like this and they look like they're in the same position. They just flipped, okay? They flipped. So I will actually redraw it so that you guys see it a little better. I'm gonna draw it like how they drew it.
Could you do me a favor and maybe draft up some slides that are going to be helpful for
They
me?
are in the same position, they just got flipped. So therefore, you could figure out which one are the corresponding angles. Because if you can't figure that out, you won't be able to tell if, whether them being equal and having the same length in the measurement in the angle matters. If they're not corresponding, it doesn't really matter. Okay, well, you have to figure out if they're corresponding first. And sometimes it's hard because sometimes they draw the two triangles differently. So I'll pull it out here.
Add them into a different folder
So I
so
actually will draw the entire grid. So I'm going to draw the grid in
if
brown.
it happened last time, I will be using my computer slides as
So
well.
I'm going to draw the grid.
Let's just look at them before I add them in. Sounds good. Awesome. Give me one
This is
second.
Y.
I've been trying to eat my breakfast since 11 o'clock today. So it's been a minute.
And this is X. Okay? And we have our B right here. I'm going to draw this, draw that. Okay, and I think it's 3. Then draw that. This is C. This is E. This is the right angle. This is the hypotenuse for this one. And over here and right here. And they kind of extended it so that you see it's like the same line. Okay? And this is right here is A. This is B. This is right here is D. And then this is the right angle. Okay, cool. So now you see how angle A and angle C are corresponding, right? Because you see this triangle over here and it flipped and angle C went there. So me telling you that angle A is equal to angle C by drawing these two lines makes sense. They are corresponding. So not only D and A are congruent, which is the right angle, D and E, we also got A and C are equal. So now we have angle A is also congruent to angle C. Alright, so we already got two corresponding angles that are equal. Now we also know from the picture that B, in both cases, I mean it is called angle B, so of course they're equal to each other. Draw it in purple so you guys see it. I drew 3 lines in each to indicate that they're equal to each other. And this is obviously all I'm going to say is angle B is congruent to angle B. So ta-da, it's all checked off. All 3 of our corresponding angles are congruent to each other, right? So my first requirement for similar triangles is fulfilled. Now my second requirement, which was what did I tell you guys was the second requirement for similar triangles? That their corresponding sides have to be in proportion. Okay?
You guys hear me? I hear you after like
Corresponding sides are in the same ratio, not equal, but same ratio. So I'm still going to do it on this page so that I don't have to redraw that triangle. I'm going to write up here the other criteria we use in order to find out similar triangles, and that is corresponding, as in same thing, they're in the same position. Corresponding sides
maybe gets worse if we
are
turn our video on.
in
I'll actually turn my video.
same proportion, same ratio.
Yeah, I'll actually turn my video
Alright,
off so
or
that
in
allows
proportion, same
for
ratio.
because
So it doesn't mean
the
it's
call. I don't
equal.
know if you
What it
recall,
means is
but
same
you and I
ratio,
actually
as in if
way back
the
in the
entire
days
triangle,
application
one side,
from
like as in
Facebook
If AD and EB, let's say AD is 2 and EB is 4, right? That means EB is twice as much as AD. That means all the other lines also need to be twice as much. So how much they are, you can also obviously tell better on the grid because they drew the grid. And I'm just going to write the value for it. So for the hypotenuse, which is AB and BC, we see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So we just need to know if they are the same slope, right? But for the other sides, AD right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, and EB is 1, 2, 3. Same thing, we get 4, 3. Over here, the base 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. You see that? So all of them are basically 3. Each side is 3. And each side is 4. So I'm going to write it in different thing. This is 3. This is 3. Sorry, this side was 4. This was 4. This is 4. This is 4. And then for this side, we have black. This is 3, this is 3, and this is 3. Now let's say I'm trying to figure out my corresponding sides ratio. So the first one is going to be this side, the height, AD over EB, or EB over AD, since this is the bigger triangle. So we have EB over AD, which is 3 over 4. And then this one is EC over D and B is also 3 over 4. So their corresponding sides are in same ratio. Now if I look at my slopes, I mean my hypotenuse even, AB over BC also 3 over 4.
Very cool. That sounds like a lot of different sponsorship activity on your channel. That sounds awesome. Are you able
Over
to share
4.
any secrets?
Okay, sorry, I had to just erase it. So, ta-da! Once again, everything checks up. They're in the same ratio. They're in the same ratio. So this is working out and this is working out. And the last thing I'm going to do, since they're asking for the hypotenuse slope, I'm going to give you guys a few seconds actually to write it down. Let me know when you're done. And then we're going to get through to the slope of the hypotenuse.
Nice. That's great. I think there are a lot of fears. Oops. Sorry about that. I just realized I was talking on mute. I was gonna say that that's actually a really good move on your part. I think there are a lot of creators that shy away from putting sponsors on their channel or even running sponsors on a consistent basis. But what we always tell creators is like that consistency is important. If you shy away from sponsorships and you do a sponsorship once in a blue moon, that's jarring for your audience because now they're expecting you not to run
We
sponsors
know
again,
that
right? But if you
similar
have multiple
triangles
customers that
need to
you
have
run sponsors consistently, they understand that it's just part of the contract. So
the
then
their
over
similar
time, they
triangles,
kind of get
their
around that and
the
they
hypotenuse slopes are
run
equal.
sponsors. So I think it's a
And
really
how
smart
can
move
you
part to
prove
avoid that
that
level of
these two
confusion on your
triangles
channel.
hypotenuse
Maybe
slope is
even before
equal?
from just kind of a revenue standpoint.
By proving that they are similar triangles. Now, how am I proving that they are similar triangles? By proving that their corresponding sides are either in the same ratio and their corresponding angles are equal. So now look through the choices.
We've got a process
Look through the
where
choices
yes, we're working with each other.
and you'll be able to
That's
see
actually great to see that that makes sense. So
that
are you working with them directly or are you working with them via an agency partner?
um, their slopes are, their sides are equal. So you look at choice A. Choice A.
Okay.
Since AD is equal to BE, so AD is equal to BE, they're not equal to each other. And
Okay.
EC, the proportion AD over DB, the proportion AD over DB is the same as BE over EC. That's true. The proportion of them are same. But they're not equal to each other. AD is 1, 2, 3, 4, and BE is actually 1, 2, 3. So they're not equal. They're saying triangle ADB is similar to triangle BEC because the corresponding angles are congruent. Good. Therefore, AB, the hypotenuse, BC is equal to BC, but they're not equal to each other though. They're not equal to each other. So the slope of AB is equal to the slope of BC. That's not true. Half of it is true. ADB is congruent to BEC? No.
Yeah,
So
no,
immediately no.
I agree with all of that.
ADB
I think
is
that the
similar to
challenge
BEC
is
because
within
the corresponding angles are
angles,
congruent, true.
and it's something that we
Therefore,
said
the
there.
ratio of
I
AD
think you guys
to
are a little bit upset about it,
DB is
and
the
I think
same thing
that's
as the ratio
frustrating to
of
hear that.
BE to EC, which is true. We just proved that right here. And so the ratio of the rise to the run is the same in each triangle. Done.
Oh wow,
Okay?
that's rough.
So this is it. Why is it
And
not choice C? Because it says congruent,
obviously
they're not
not
congruent.
ideal.
Choice A and
This
B
match is
did talk
pretty
about, well,
crazy.
choice not choice A. Choice A was saying how they're
Yeah,
equal to
just
each other.
having
It's
the
not true.
and then the
Choice
back is
B, on
like
the other
really
hand, did
going.
say it's
So
similar
if you look at
because
the
their
angles,
corresponding angles are
choice C
congruent.
kind of
They're
looks
right.
like it's
But
similar.
then they got it wrong by saying AB and BC are equal. They're not equal. Okay, that's not why their slope is the same. All right? So that is the answer. And with that, we are done with that question. Now I'm going to give you guys actually a few triangles to prove to me why they're similar. And get rid of this.
Okay.
Don't
Well, you
save.
know, I hear you on
And
that, and I think
prove,
it's a difficult situation to be in if you at any point decide that hey,
prove
I think
two
A
triangles
and campaign
are
could be
similar.
congruent, and then you want to potentially look at other options as far as the VPN space goes. It's something that we're more than happy to chat with you about. But in the meantime, I think I'd love to chat with you a little bit more about the potential for us to get audibles going on your channel again. I think in the past we had it teed up for you, but I think our communication had dropped off. If Audible is a brand that you're keen to work with, and I remember that you were very excited about working with Audible the last time we spoke, that's something we'd love to try and line up for you in the next few months.
PDF. Okay. Let's say I gave you two triangles here. And another one right here. Make this one double, single, triple right here. Double, single, and triple right here. And I have A,
Yeah, the
C,
challenge, as I
well,
said,
A,
was
B,
I
C.
think there are a lot of different use cases and
And we
functionalities that
have
are worth
D,
considering, and if it is
E,
important to change up the
F.
messaging a little bit each and every single time, then
Okay?
yeah, I hear you. I
And
think
the values that I'm
for
giving each
you know
triangle
issues
are
that
8,
protect your privacy, get that
6,
one is the primary reason for
4,
using it. But for
and
reasons and kind of struggles you're
3,
experiencing, on the flip side,
4,
I think it's a
and
good thing
2.
that you have
So
multiple sides to
how
choose
can I
from,
prove that these two triangles are
like you have with North.
similar?
Only because with Audible, each and every single time, we would
How
be
can I tell you that how can you
recommending
tell me
you
that
to
these two
have a
triangles are
close
similar?
replication of your choosing, right? So with each integration, they would take on an
We
entire
can
language,
tell
but of course there are some
because
thematic
first thing I'm going to
options
do is
between others.
see if they're
But as far as
corresponding
you know, the overall integration itself, it could really change quite a lot
angles
based on the book that you choose, right?
are
So
congruent. So they have to,
a
your
specific
question have to
example would
tell
be
you
the
that they are or not. Either they drew
that
these
talks
two
about that.
lines to indicate
If
that
you
their
are
angles are
interested in
same,
that
these
aspect
lines
of
mean
your
they have the
audience,
same angle
we'll
length,
see
or
if
they
you're
give you
ready
the
to make
actual
that jump
length,
right into
and the
Audible.
other one is
It's a
corresponding
compelling deal, and I think
sides are
that
in
immediacy
proportion.
is there in the opportunity, right?
So you guys are actually learning a
The
very
utility to the brand, I
important
think,
topic today.
highlights
Once you
the
learn this,
opportunity
this is
that
it.
that you have
You do this in
right? So
geometry, high school geometry a
I
lot.
think
You
it's
just have to
most
do
definitely a
proofs for
great thing
that,
that
and it takes us a
will
little bit. I'm not
fantastically
teaching you that right now because it's going to
follow
confuse
along.
you. But the
Obviously,
main idea comes from this.
well over 250
Corresponding sides
hours of
are in
technology, right? So this is,
proportion.
I think, a brand that is really well positioned for our current circumstances. So one more thing is
Are
for
in
sure.
proportion. So we're gonna prove it on this side. We're gonna prove it on this side. So corresponding angles are congruent. Are they? Yes. We have angle B is equal to angle E and they're corresponding. Angle B is equal to angle C. Good. Angle C is equal to angle F. Angle A is equal to angle D. So corresponding angles are congruent. Good job. Now, are the ratios, are the corresponding sides in proportion? Let's see. Are they? So we have AB over DE is the same thing.
Nice. Well, that's helpful to know, and
AB
considering that you
is
had experience with messaging of
8
that sort, I think
and DE is
realistically,
4, so
you'd
it's
be
2.
perfectly fine. No problem.
Now let's try
Unless
this
you
one.
really wait for it to come up with
AC
because otherwise it is just a dry acronym. Just
over
going through a couple of different processes. But I think what your
DF,
audience is really going to be
and
interested in is, hey, what
that
is
is 4 over
right?
2,
And I think
also in the
a
same
lot of different
proportion,
things are
2,
split on. I think
right?
that
And the
immediacy is
last
going to
one,
do a great
I'm
job
going to do BC
once we get that campaign into motion.
over
That being said,
EF,
you have quite a lot of
which
room
is
over the next
6
couple months
over
to
3,
all the different
also
levels that we've outlined
same
with you right here.
exact
What we'd love
position,
to
same
do
exact thing,
when
multiplied
we
by 2.
have
Exactly. So let me know if you guys all understood this entire topic. And the last few minutes we have, we're going to go over a few more English questions. So let me know in the chat right now if everything is understood here. If you guys have any questions, write the question down so I can still go over. And then tomorrow we'll review it again. We'll review similar triangles again. Alrighty.
If you can aim for near June, given that
Are
since
you
it's
guys okay? You guys
now,
understood
we need to
everything?
confirm everything immediately, because we'll be signing those budgets out closer to those months. So give us a little bit of
I'm gonna
time,
just leave it
and
on,
we
but
can
I'm gonna pull
get a
this
good
out
idea on where things stand with Audible. And then
now.
at the same time, we may be able to start exploring a couple of other potential
Okay.
partnerships for your channel. There is one brand that
Uh,
is very
let's go over
organically
this.
growing already.
Let's move to English now for the last few minutes,
With
15 minutes.
very
Let's see how many questions we get to do this. I think we did this already.
It's called Rayson,
Okay. All right.
Raycon.
This is actually a good question. What is the formula to identify an infinitive? So, yesterday we learned what an infinitive is, right? An infinitive is one of the forms of the verbal forms we learned, along with participle and gerund. But with
Nice. Okay, so you're
infinitive,
already familiar
there
with
is
Audible.
something that you
So
know.
please
It
continue over
most of the
where
time
I
it has
where I
something before
need
the
to
verb.
plug in the earbuds.
What is it? Who can tell me?
Nice. And do you recall how much you paid for those?
Perfect. Two, and then a verb. Shruti said that.
Got
So
it.
we did that yesterday.
What I can tell you right
Like
now is that the Raycons wouldn't be as
some,
high end as
an
some of these.
example would
However,
be
I think you kind of hit on what makes
she
Raycons
was
challenging for some
going
people already,
to
and
play.
that's the price point. While
The subject is she, the verb is was
fantastic,
going.
fantastic. I think the
So
price point
to
for
play,
some
even though it's a
people
verb,
might not
is
be so
actually
accessible. So
acting
for
as
not
a
that much money, we'll
noun,
justify
in
spending
that
that much money
case.
on
All
that.
right?
I think the
So
Raycons are
that's that.
fantastic.
Identify the verbal in red.
My
Doomsday
video
was
is
fighting
flying in a pair of AirPods that
Superman,
offer absolute
Batman,
speed
and Wonder
design,
Woman.
and very
So
minimal
figure out if
aesthetic and
this
added
part, the one in red,
in
is
a
it
really small
turning
case.
the verb into a noun? Is it turning the verb into an adjective? Or is it doing something else? Based on whether it's turning into a noun or an adjective,
Wireless headphones, and
will give you the
they're
answer whether it's a
fantastic.
participle, gerund, infinitive, or it's not a verbal. So Doomsday was fighting
However, if you would like to
Superman,
test them out and
Batman,
see if you like
and
them,
Wonder
feel free.
Women.
You will. I think that
Is
this is
it
a
turning
pretty
anything to
interesting
anything?
brand for your audience, especially given the fact
What
that
is
they
the
do
subject of the sentence? The subject is
a lot
Doomsday.
of YouTube
What is he
content
doing?
and
Was fighting.
with
So that
YouTube
seems like
content,
that is actually the verb of this
visual longer
sentence,
form
and
allows you
there's
to
nothing.
engage with other things, while
Right?
the
So that was a
smaller
tricky
content will
question.
not.
That is not a verbal.
So
Not a
having
if
a lot of
you know a
different
verbal when
ways
you see two
to
verbs in
reach
there,
everybody
and one of them is
is
actually acting like the verb of the
one of
sentence,
the
because every
best
sentence needs to have a
and
subject and a verb.
great device with a really
And
wide
then the
range of
next verb is not really acting as the verb of the sentence, but you're using it to to modify either the verb or the noun, right? Now identify the red verbal phrase. Driving recklessly through the streets of Gotham, comma, Batman pursued the Riddler. So now this is a question where we already have a verb of the subject. The subject is Batman, and what is he doing? He's pursuing the Riddler, right? But why is he doing that, and how is he doing that? So, driving recklessly through the streets of Gotham, it's actually modifying Batman. It's modifying the noun, right? It's modifying the noun, and if it's modifying the noun, how is it modifying the noun? Is it acting as an adjective or an acting as a noun?
yeah, and especially for sports. So what I can tell you
Is
with the
it's
Raycons
it's
is
describing
that
Batman
they
as
can do
what?
things like
Reckless,
multitasking. However,
but recklessly.
their earbuds
So
are
if it's acting as an adjective,
have
it
naturally
would be one thing.
a built
If it's
noise
acting as a
cancellation.
noun, it would be
So
another
if
thing.
you're running into an issue
So you
where
guys
you're
tell
getting too
me
much background noise off of your sports
if it's acting
headphones,
as an
then the
adjective or
Raycons
a
are
noun.
fantastic. I actually use them for exercise myself for that exact reason. They plug right into your ears. They don't feel like they're going to fall out during heavy strenuous exercise, and they'll block out
like it's acting as a
check out the raycons. We'll also send you
adjective,
if you're a
right?
familiar
So it
audiovisual
would be
if there's any need for us to put the
participle
in there. But check out the
because it's
raycons.
describing that
This is
Batman is
also
being
for
reckless.
more than
Which
100
term
days.
describes the way an author develops and conveys information about the story, about the characters in a story? Okay, this one is obviously super easy.
Oh,
Good job.
nice.
It's just characterization. Everyone should know that.
Okay.
Characterization basically means you are characterizing your characters. You're describing the characters. You're giving them qualities. It could be physical characterization. He's tall, he has long hair, his hair is brown, his eyes are beautiful and blue, his skin tone is pale.
Maybe the
Those are physical
definition, right?
characterization.
From
That could be a
something
characterization. And
that
then there is
really interesting, right? But
basically
maybe it's an
personality
example. I don't have
characterization.
that
So
one handy,
you
but maybe
explain
that's
his
really
personality
the requirement
through
of
his acts. What did he do? How did he
study
act with the other
if there's
characters in the story? And
there
that
for
tells a lot about a character, usually about a narrator, usually about the protagonist. Protagonist is the main character or the positive character in a story, and the antagonist is usually the character who's like a villain working against the protagonist. All right? Active or passive. So, this is one thing that I want you guys to really know because this comes out a lot. Active and passive. So, we have in English, we usually use two types of
Yeah.
voices. It's either
And
the
any
active
audio listeners
voice
that potentially screw up
or it's either the passive
the
voice.
mix
Okay?
of the audio perfect, right? So I think that's also worth mentioning.
Most of the time we
Cool.
use
That's
active
great.
voice because
Sounds
this
like
is
we're
the, I guess, the
pretty
nicer way of
similar
writing.
kind of like rhythms.
Usually we use
Yeah.
passive
So
voice sometimes,
more we're confident,
but
for this.
most
That being
definitely
said, I do
when we are writing
recommend
like
people
scientific
on
journals,
active
when we are writing a
definition
lab report, passive voice is the way to go.
However, I just want to quickly
So
touch
an
base with you
active
on one thing.
voice,
Prior to us leaving, we're supporting
verb,
these campaigns with just
I
about
mean
100 channels
now
where you don't
subject
really
comes
require a
first.
fan-based bill, so we can aim to get you the rates that you're looking for these campaigns.
Subject comes first. Subject is doing
Okay, sure. And is that the range that you're currently
an
looking for, Nora?
activity
Okay.
versus object comes
Well, that's great for us,
first.
ma'am. On our end, we are also looking at conversions relative
Object
to your channel. So, on the back end,
is
we'd be really measuring how many people are
getting
signing up to your link for Audible or for your channel
something
for any campaign that we work on.
from
If
the
we have enough
subject.
people signing up, so that $5,000 rate, there's some
So it
margin
doesn't
that
make
we can
sense when I write the
convert
definition.
if we do this again and again. I think
It makes more
once
sense if I
people
just give you an example,
try it
but
out,
I still have to
once
do
we
this
prove
part,
to
right?
a point versus
So when I give you an
just
example,
adding that
basically,
cover to justify the investment in
I
the channel. But you seem to have had a ton of
am,
success with sponsors so far, so that rate is something that we're more than happy to work with. So give us a little bit of time. We're gonna go ahead and start talking to the team about getting this team
let's
members.
see,
And yeah, we're very excited to work with you in the coming months. But that's actually going to be time for us. We got to run to that other call. But Paul, it was fantastic chatting with you again, man. It's been a good 2 years since the last time we spoke. It was nice to be able to re-engage.
she is
Awesome. Yeah, you
reading
take it easy. Obviously, crazy times out
the
there. Stay safe and let us
book,
know if there's anything else that comes up.
okay? And in passive, it would be
Take it
the
easy, Paul.
book
Speak soon.
was being read by her. Okay? So in this sentence, the subject is she. What is she doing? She's reading the book, and the object is the book. If I want to change it to passive voice, I have to write the object first. The book was being read by her. All right? Does that make sense to you guys? A little better? So I want you guys to write this down in your notebook now. Okay, and save. And in this one, Harry ate 6 shrimp at dinner. That would be active. Subject first, verb second, and then the object. All right. Let's do this. Blank verb mood expresses or command. So I want to get through to the verb mood because there are several. We have imperative, indicative, subjunctive, and conditional. And I want to go through all of them step by step. I'm going to do that tomorrow, but today I'll just give you the answer for this one. So the verb mood that expresses a command is imperative. Okay. Um, Tomorrow we're gonna go through all of them, but let's do this one a little real quick because this is something we learned yesterday. Identify the verbal in red. The flash his speed his speed to catch. To catch, it has a to on it, so obviously for in this case it would be infinitive. All right. Again, verb mode expresses a wish, desire, situation, or anything else to the fact. Mm, expresses a mood is subjunctive. All right, so I'm just going to take a note that that's what we're going to do. All right. So this will be all for today. We did the similar triangles. I hope you guys wrote everything down. We did the active and passive voice, and we also reviewed the verbal forms. So tomorrow, as soon as we start class, unless you guys have like a math question or something, we're gonna review the different um, the question that we just did yesterday, subjunctive, imperative, all of that. We're going to review the 4 different types, and then we are also going to review the similar triangles, and then we'll move on to other topics in English. It was a good class today. Again, hope you guys understood. If you have any questions, just text me about anything I explained or watch the video again so that you really grasp a similar triangle. I'll see you guys tomorrow again at 12 p.m. Uh, most of all 3 of you are always on time, so it's great. This is a class that I'm never having issues with lateness, so we get to start just on time. Have a nice day. Enjoy the rest of your day. And once again, if you have any questions on your school homework that you're getting that you need help from me, just post it on Google Classroom or text me. I'll see you guys. And before you leave, say bye on the chat.